what he's called the Rich Paul rule, where they're explicitly targeting Rich Paul because I guess they feel that he and LeBron have too much influence on college athletes. And it's true. These athletes, they love LeBron. They know the difference between being represented by a brother and being represented by these people that are out here robbing black athletes. When you see these athletes going broke, a lot of times they're going broke, right next to somebody who was supposed to look out for their interests who never did. The agents and the lawyers don't go broke. The manager don't go broke. The damn people managing the bank account don't go broke. All these other people don't go broke, but your ass goes broke. Well, a lot of times it's because they don't care about your financial outcomes. They're literally looking at these athletes as people, as almost like apple trees, where they can pick the fruit off the apple tree, or in a parasitic kind of framework where it's sort of like, okay, how much can we get out of this guy before he dries up and financially dies? And this is hitting your community hard. Remember, every time a guy gets drafted in the NBA and even the NFL, that's a new black millionaire. That's a new black male millionaire. Each of those millionaires has the capacity to be a walking one-man corporation. So every time a player gets drafted by the NBA, they're being given enough money to form a multi-million-dollar corporation. They literally are a walking institution. So sloppily handling all those resources is a huge drain on the black community, because if I'll tell you what, you give me the salary of even an average NBA player, and watch how many schools I can build. Watch how many businesses I can start. Watch how many hundreds, even thousands of black people I can employ. Why? Well, because I understand finance at a very high level, and I can say, okay, we can take the $500,000, allocate it here. We can buy this entire block. Let's buy these 4 schools. Let's do this, and let's set up a business model here, and here. Like, there's a lot you can do with that, but unfortunately, that's not really discussed. That's not really encouraged the way it should be. And so what I really think is that when you see these little moves being made, you got to read between the lines and look at what they're trying to do to you. What they see what you don't see. They see what you don't see. LeBron's starting to see it. Other guys see it, but I still don't think we see it the way they see it. What they're seeing is the black male athlete as a $1 trillion commodity. So they're thinking, how do we control this $1 trillion commodity the same way we control the trillions of dollars in resources in Africa, right? They're the same way remember, at the turn of the century, they had a meeting. The European countries had a meeting where they put Africa on a big board and they chopped it into pieces and said, you get this part, you get that part. Germany, you get this. France, you get that. England, you get this. So because we want to stay on code, and we don't want the Africans to have any of this power, but we want to have it for ourselves, and we don't want to lose it because we know that if we're divided, we're gonna have a greater chance of losing our wealth. If we stay together, we can control this thing. We're gonna figure this out in advance so that everybody is on code and knows what belongs to who gets what, and who's gonna plunder this country. And so, this continent. And so, what's happened, over the last several hundred years is that Africa has been drained of so many of its resources, trillions of dollars in resources, because you had the oppressors staying on code, staying coordinated, and going after this country that unfortunately was pretty divided. How does that translate to the NCAA? Well, the NCAA, instead of having European countries coordinating their activities and trying to stay on code so they can plunder Africa, you have European universities, European-run big white schools that all get together and they have a meeting. They say, look, there's a $1 trillion asset called the black male athlete, and if y'all stay on code and y'all all stick together and you stay coordinated and abide by the same rules, then we can keep all the wealth for ourselves, and they get very little. So that's why NCAA institutions are under one umbrella. That's why NCAA institutions follow the same protocol. That's why if you leave one school and say, look, they wouldn't pay me what I'm worth, will y'all pay me? The other school says, no, we're not going to pay you either, because they're all staying on code so they can all work together to create what is called a cartel. A cartel is actually illegal in most businesses and in most industries in the United States. The NCAA has been in consistent violation of antitrust law in the United States. The NCAA is waiting, and in fact, I think there's one in court right now. They're waiting to be sued to the tune of hundreds of billions of dollars for all the wealth and resources that their cartel, their illegal antitrust violating cartel, has extracted from the black community and other communities in this country. So this is the strategy. It's all about coordination, and the NBA owners do the same thing. Back in the mid 1990s, Kevin Garnett got signed to the Minnesota Minnesota Timberwolves to a contract that was insanely high. I think they offered him $21 million a year, which at that time, I think the average player was getting $4 or $5 million a year. So they signed him to this massive $21 million deal. All the players said, oh, no, we can't have this. We can't have the Negroes getting access to the money. So what they did was they locked out the players, right? So let me tell you what happened when they locked them out. When they locked them out, it was the owners against the players. So you had all these different players, hundreds of them, trying to get on the same page. It didn't work. You had rich players, poor players, educated players, ignorant players, famous players, not so famous players, veteran players, rookie players, all these different people with different interests, and they were not able to get on the same accord. So what happened, though, at the same time, simultaneously, the owners all did what the European countries did. They all did what the NCAA does. All the owners said, we have got to stay on the same page if we're going to win this fight. Unity is the key for us to be able to get as much wealth as possible out of these people. David Stern, the commissioner of the NBA at that time, told the owners, he said, if you guys do not stay coordinated, you will lose this battle. You will not win. So every time they had a vote, it was always unanimous. Every vote, always unanimous. Do we continue the lockout or end it? Unanimous. Do we ask for X% or Y%? Unanimous. Everything was unanimous, unanimous, unanimous. And you know what happened? The owners whooped the asses of the players in that negotiation. They set salaries back so far that literally to this day, rookies can't make even a fraction of what they're truly worth in terms of NBA salary. So where does this translate into the present? LeBron's playing a different game. You know, just like when I did that video series, you guys can find it on drboycetv.com called What a Billionaire Told Me About Black People. What that billionaire said, that I really like this guy. He's a white dude, but he was cool. He's real cool. And he said, when you start really talking about real black power, when you really start coordinating your people and really attacking white supremacist wealth building strategies, he said, don't think this is going to be easy. He said, you're playing a different game at that point. They're not used to you. They're used to you playing checkers. They're not used to you playing chess. So they're going to come at you with everything they got. So you got to be ready for that mentally. You got to be prepared for that. And so LeBron is not playing checkers. He's not doing what they're used to athletes doing. He's not choosing to shut up and dribble. He's not choosing to just focus on basketball, booty, and bling and forget about everything else. He's coordinating. He's creating coordinated strategies in which they are now a significant force in the NBA and in the NCAA. Not only are they significant in terms of power, they have the cool factor going for them. What player wouldn't want to be represented by LeBron or even Jay-Z over some corny white boy that went to Harvard? Seriously. And they're threatened by that. They don't like that. Zion Williamson, and I hope it's okay for me to mention some of this. I'm going to talk. I know the guys who run the Jordan brand. The president, Larry Miller, is a really good guy. Zion Williamson, when he signed his shoe deal, he didn't get the most money offered by the Jordan brand. The Jordan brand did not offer him the most money. From what I understand, they make offers. They say, look, here's what we're offering you. If you want it, take it. If you don't want it, that's okay. He still took the offer from the Jordan brand, even though other shoe companies offered him more money. Why is that? Well, because he's a brother, and every brother loves the Jordan brand. Brothers want to work with other brothers. That's what you're getting. And I think that they feel very threatened by this. They don't like this. They also don't like the fact that LeBron is intelligent, and bless him for this. He's intelligent and conscientious enough to speak out on the slavery, the economic slavery consistently committed by the NCAA. He speaks on that. I think he did a documentary on it. I haven't seen it yet. I don't even know if it's out, but I'm going to watch it. I'm going to support this because I'm so happy that we have one of the greatest athletes on the planet willing to address one of the greatest injustices on the planet, at least when it comes to the black men who are trying to accumulate some wealth. So here's my last